So let's dig into one of the biggest and, let's be honest, most confusing giants in tech, Alphabet. And we're not going to rely on rumors or what people think. Nope, we're going straight to the source, using the company's own documents to see how this whole empire really works. You see this logo every single day. But this name? Yeah, probably not so much. And that's the central puzzle we're exploring today. How did the world's most famous search engine get, well, kind of swallowed up by this company called Alphabet? And what does that tell us about how this tech empire is really run? So that's the big question, right? Think about it. Back in 2015, Google, a name that's literally a verb, did something super weird. It restructured itself under a brand new parent company called Alphabet. It was confusing. Why on earth would a brand at the absolute peak of its game just hide behind a new name? Well, it turns out it wasn't really a disappearing act. It was more of a strategic reshuffle. Google became the super profitable engine inside a much, much bigger machine. And this new structure, it was all about giving their crazier, long-term projects room to breathe and giving investors a much clearer look at what was actually going on. All right, to really get a grip on Alphabet, you gotta follow the money. It's always about the money, right? And that journey starts with the part of the business we all know and use every single day, the Google money machine. And believe me, when you see the numbers, they're just staggering. And wow, what a machine it is. Just get a load of these numbers from their 2023 filings. In just 1 year, revenue from Google search shot up by over $12 billion. And YouTube ads, up over $2 billion. This isn't just a business, it's a financial juggernaut, and it's powered almost entirely by advertising. So what's at the very heart of this machine? It's a service that started way back in 2000, Google AdWords, which we now just call Google Ads. Think of it like a giant nonstop auction. Businesses bid on keywords, and the winners get to put their ads right in front of you based on exactly what you're looking for. The idea is simple, but the scale is, well, it's almost impossible to imagine. And this is the part you really need to get. This ad engine is what pays for everything else. It gives Alphabet the cash to make these huge, world-changing bets on the future. All of it, the self-driving cars, the futuristic health tech, it's all funded by this system. Okay, so we've got the engine figured out. Now let's look at the car it's powering. The Alphabet structure is basically a blueprint for what they call a company of companies, and it's designed to do something very specific. And here's how that master plan looks in practice. On one side, you've got Google. That's the core, the part that makes all the money. We're talking search, YouTube, Android, all the stuff you use every day. On the other side, you have the other bets. And this is where things get really interesting. These are the wilder, more futuristic ideas. So what exactly are these other bets? Well, we're talking about some seriously out there, ambitious projects. You've got Waymo, a leader in self-driving cars. Then there's Verily and Calico, which are trying to tackle huge challenges in healthcare and, well, living longer. Nest is all about the smart home. And of course, there's Google X, the legendary moonshot factory that comes up with crazy ideas like beaming internet down from giant balloons. Okay, so with all these different companies and wild projects, you have to wonder, who is actually in charge? Who's calling the shots? And the answer isn't on some simple org chart. No, it's hidden deep inside the way the company's stock is structured. Okay, this right here, this is where you find the real power at Alphabet. You've got 3 types of stock. Class A is for the public, you and me, 1 share, 1 vote. Simple. Then there's Class C, which gets 0 votes. But then you have Class B stock. This is the special stuff. It's held almost entirely by the founders and top insiders. And here's the kicker. Each share gets 10 votes. And hey, don't just take my word for it. This is from one of their own SEC filings. Because of that 10-to-1 voting power, the founders, Larry Page and Sergey Brin, pretty much have the final say on, well, everything. This structure lets them chase those huge long-term other bets without having to constantly worry about Wall Street demanding profits every quarter. And believe me, that control comes with some massive financial stakes. Just take a look at the CEO's compensation back in 2015, the year they did this whole restructure. Sure, the salary is nice, but look at the stock awards. It's completely dwarfed. This is all designed to make sure the leadership is focused on the long-term value of the whole company, not just short-term cash. And to make sure they're focused on that long game, the company has some really strict stock ownership rules. The founders have to hold at least $14 million in stock, and the CEO needs to hold at least $4 million. They've got serious skin in the game. Their own fortunes are tied directly to how well the company does. But, being a giant isn't all fun and games. It also means you face some giant-sized challenges. Alphabet is a global company, and when you're that big, you get some intense scrutiny from governments and competitors all over the world. I mean, listen to this. This is pulled directly from the risk factors section of their own annual report. The company knows full well that its biggest threats aren't always going to come from some new startup in a garage. A lot of the time, they come from regulators in Washington, D.C. and Brussels. And look, this isn't just some hypothetical what-if scenario. It's happening right now, all the time. You've got a massive antitrust lawsuit from the US government, the EU's strict new Digital Markets Act, and losing a major lawsuit to Epic Games over its App Store. These aren't just minor legal headaches. They eat up a ton of resources and can actually stop the company from innovating on its next big idea. And the pressure really does come from every direction. It's not just about being too big. It's about how they handle your data, how they moderate content, their global tax strategies, intellectual property. For a company this size, it's like fighting a battle on 5 different fronts at once. So how does a giant like Alphabet fight back against all this pressure? Well, they try to innovate their way out of it. Get this. They've poured more than $150 billion into R&D in just the last 5 years. And a huge chunk of that is a massive bet on what they see as the future, artificial intelligence. So, from right there at its famous headquarters, the Googleplex, Alphabet is basically betting the farm on AI. They want AI to redefine everything, from search to self-driving cars. It's the same strategy they used with search 2 decades ago. Get ahead of the curve and define the next era of tech yourself. And that brings us to the final and maybe the most important question of all. As Alphabet bets its entire future on AI, building the actual technology might end up being the easy part. The real challenge? That's going to be earning and keeping our trust. Can the company that organized the world's information be trusted to build its intelligence? That's the question that will define Alphabet's next chapter.